Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and today is Friday, and that means I'm going to share with you how to create a card from the catalog. So if you've watched my videos before, especially on Fridays, then you know sometimes I create cards from the catalog exactly the way they are in the catalog. Sometimes I change a little and sometimes I change a lot. I've changed quite a few things on this one, but it still looks pretty close to what is in the catalog. So I think it's pretty fun. I didn't have one of the stamp sets that's used in this, and I didn't have some of the embellishments that's used in this one. So I made do with what I do have. You also probably know, if you've watched any of my card from the catalog videos, that I love finding inspiration from Stampin' Up's catalogs, brochures, any of their publications, the mini catalogs. There's always so many great ideas. And even if you don't want to copy them exactly as they are, there's still so much that you can learn from and take off with in your own direction just from what's right in the catalog. So like I said, it's one of my favorite sources of inspiration, and it's my go-to when I get kind of a creative block and get stuck. That's where I always go back to just kind of restart all of that creativeness. Okay, so before we get started, I do want to tell you a couple of things. We still have a starter kit special happening this month. I've lost my words for a minute. So through November 30th, we're still in 2021, but through November 30th, you can get a starter kit in the US for only $75. They're normally $99. And the coolest thing about our starter kits is that you get to design your own starter kit. So for $75 this month, you choose $125 worth of product out of the catalog. So I can help you get as close to the $125 as possible. If you need some help, or if you just like to sit and figure that out, then you are more than welcome to. But I would love to have you on my team. And I will do anything and everything to help you get started and along your Stampin' Up! Journey, whether you want to join as a happy shopper or make a business out of it. Either way, I love Stampin' Up! So let me tell you a couple other things that's great about our starting kit. So you get free shipping, which is awesome. And you get a free paper pumpkin kit. It won't be the current kit, but you will get a past paper pumpkin kit, so you can try that out and see what you think. All right, that's all I'm going to tell you about that right now. We're just going to go ahead and switch the camera over so that you can see my catalog, and I'll show you which card we're going to make. Here we go. So, can you see my Pale Papaya cardstock here? This is the card we're making. And I don't have this main set that it uses. It uses watercolor shapes and shaded summer. I do have shaded summer and I love it. So I thought, well, I think I can make this work with the set that I have. So let me show you what I did. Do you see these dots here? Let me move it closer so you can see. So those little Coastal Cabana dots are from the Playing with Patterns resin dots. I don't have those, but I didn't let that stop me. What I do have are the Pearl Basic Jewels. So I grabbed my light Bermuda Bay blending pen, Stampin' Blend. I don't know what I was talking about, blending pen, but I grabbed my light Bermuda Bay Stampin' Blend, and I'm gonna just really quickly and pretty lightly color 3 of these larger pearls, this wonderful blue color. And I'm using the lighter because the enamel dots, like I said, they are Coastal Cabana, and I don't have that. But I think the light Bermuda Bay is pretty close. And one of the ink colors that we're going to be using is Coastal Cabana. So I'm doing 4 of these smaller pearls. And I just went for the ones in the middle. I don't know what's up with that. Usually I'm starting at the top and going from left to right, top to bottom. But not today. Today is just a wild free-for-all. And yes, this is about as wild as I get these days. Oh, sad but true. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside to dry while I work on the rest of the card. So you can see in the picture here that they used this big rectangle watercolor stamp for the background image and the Pale Papaya ink. So I don't have that. So you have the option. I chose, of course you can use the stamp if you have the stamp, that would be fabulous. But I don't. So this Versamark pad is pretty close to that rectangle. It's a little bit bigger, but not too much. So what I'm going to do is take my ink pad and I'm going to mash it down on the front of my card. Ooh, I'm shaking my table. Sorry about that. Okay, so there we go. It looks pretty similar. There's a glare on it now to what is happening in the card. So now I'm just gonna I'm gonna start at the top now. I'm gonna bring it over a little bit. And I don't want it as close to the top of the card or as close to the right side of the card. Just want to make sure the whole thing is wet. That one was a little crooked. That's okay. We're improvising here. And then this one I'm getting close to the left edge and just putting it in the middle of those two. And again, I'm sorry, I'm shaking my table doing this. Hope I'm not making anybody seasick. So there we have our rectangles. That was the first step. So the second step is to grab a 2 1/4 by 3 3/4 piece of shimmering white cardstock. I don't think you can see it on the camera. It's a very subtle shimmer, but it's really cool. Let me see if I can move my light so you can see it. Nope, I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, it's a very subtle shimmer, but it's really pretty in person. So I'm going to see which side looks better because this was just a scrap that I had lying around. I'm going to go with this side. And then I have my water painter and I'm using the wide brush, the wide tip. So I'm going to start with Pool Party. I have 5 colors here. I have Pool Party, Coastal Cabana, Pale Papaya, Mango Melody, and Daffodil Delight, and I'm using them in that order. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this. So this is an old ink pad, but squeeze the ink pad between the heels of your palms and then open it up, and you can use the lid as an ink palette. So I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of water into the tip of my paintbrush, and I'm going to go not quite from edge to edge. You can do this on just regular basic white cardstock. I don't really recommend it because it's easier to get that cardstock too wet and kind of warp it. So our Fluid 100 watercolor paper is fantastic for this. But like I said, I really like this shimmery white. Just because it has a little bit of shimmer. It doesn't have the texture on it that the watercolor paper has. It's a little smoother, so it's going to be easier to stamp on. Not that the watercolor paper is hard to stamp on. It's just textured and a little different. And I just really like the shimmer. Like I've said like 10 times now. I don't know, I'm repeating myself so much. Okay, so this is the Coastal Cabana, and I forgot to squeeze it. I always open it and then I'll go, oh yeah, I was going to squeeze that. Okay, I'm going to squeeze a little bit more water in here. And I just used, I have a baby wipe on my desk that I was using a while ago. So I'm just going to keep using that baby wipe to wipe the ink off of my painter until we get through. And then I might run it under the faucet just to make sure all the ink is out of it. It is an alcohol-free baby wipe. It shouldn't hurt my paintbrush at all, but just to make sure it's totally clean. I'll go ahead and run it under the faucet in a minute. That probably wasn't a great idea. If you get a lot of water in the lid of your ink pad, I do recommend going ahead and wiping that out too, because you don't want water and ink running everywhere when you close your pad up. So this is called Papaya, and these newer pads, you really have to squeeze those. So I'm using the heels of my hand there, and now it's nice and inked up for me. So another way you could do this is grab one of your blocks and just dip it on the pad, and then you can use your block as your ink palette. But I'm not painting a lot right now, so I'm just going to keep doing it this way. I'm starting to see that shimmer just a little bit more now that I'm adding ink to the paper. And it may also be the angle that I'm looking at. Okay, look, you can see how the colors are bleeding into each other. That's kind of cool. Just cleaning my paintbrush off again. Don't want to mix my colors. Squeezing my ink pad, opening it up. And this one is Mango Melody. I really like this color. So, and you can see I'm just going a little bit wider than my paintbrush. Not too much. Just a smidge. There we go. Changing the ink color again. So when you're going from light to dark, it probably doesn't matter as much, but when you're going from dark to light, you do really want to change. That one I didn't have to squeeze. This is Daffodil Delight, so it's going to be a little lighter than the Mango Melody. So my rectangles aren't the perfect rectangle that you get from a stamp. So if you like that, then I would recommend getting this watercolor shapes stamp set. It's a cool stamp set. You can do a lot with it. I just don't have it. And I really wanted to make this card today. Oh, look how close those are. That's a lot closer than I thought they were going to be. So there we go. From top to bottom, we have Pool Party, Coastal Cabana, Pale Papaya, Mango Melody, and Daffodil Delight. And the colors are a little bit more vibrant in person. I don't know what's happening with my camera. It's fading them out a little bit. All right, so while those are getting good and dry, I'm going to clean my paintbrush off one more time on this baby wipe so it doesn't stain my paint tip, my paintbrush. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid back on that. We're finished with the paintbrush. And then I'm going to go ahead and get out this little strip of cardstock. So this is a 5/8 inch wide this way, and I don't know how long it is. Get my paper trimmer out. It is 2 3/4 inches long, but I'm gonna cut it down. So it doesn't have to be that long. That's just to give me some wiggle room when I'm stamping. So I'm grabbing the Love You Friend stamp from Shaded Summer stamp set. Have you seen this stamp set? This is an awesome stamp set. So I got it because I love all the sentiments on it. And if you have watched anything that I do, you probably know that I'm a sucker for sentiments. That might need to be my tagline. But I love these floral images too. They are amazing. And these are the cling stamps, which means you can use our Stampin' Write markers to color straight on the stamps, which is really fun. And I've done that before. I can't remember if I did it for my blog or for a video, but I should do that again soon and show you how to do that because it is so cool. It's one of the very first techniques I learned, and wow, that is crooked. Let's try it again. Pardon me if my head gets in your way. So much better. Not perfectly straight, but that's okay. So it was one of the first techniques I learned, and I still think it's really cool. So if you don't know how to do that, let me know, and I'll make sure I get it on a video soon so that you'll know. My paper has a weird ridge at the bottom, so I'm just using my bone folder to smooth those out. Okay, let's start putting this bad boy together. The first thing I'm going to do is use some dimensionals to pop this up. Now, I always say I don't like to waste things, so I keep my scraps, and I also keep the edges of my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I just cut them, and then you can use them just like you would a normal dimensional. Ay, ay, ay. Do you see what I forgot to do on this? Whew, that was almost a disaster. Thank goodness for a silicone sheet. So I'm going to put my dimensionals over here on my silicone sheet. I forgot to stamp the flower. That would have not been a good thing. So thankfully these dimensionals are not stuck on just super good yet. I'm just going to pull those off and put them over here on the sheet. If I can get that one off of me. There we go. Silicone sheet is always handy to stick things to that you are not ready to stick somewhere else yet. Okay, so I'm getting my big flower stamp. It's this one here. And just my Memento ink. And I'm going to rub the ink all over it, and then I'm just going to mash it down. Okay, so I want this little flower to kind of be over in this corner, and the stamp is going to hang off the edge. That is okay. It was supposed to do that. Like really, it really was supposed to do that. It was part of the plan. So there we go. And if you want to have a nice, really dark image, then you can always put that stamp on your Stamparatus, and then you can stamp multiple times to get a nice dark image, but I like this right here. Okay, so I'm gonna return these dimensionals back to their rightful places now. Put this back on the front of the card. Yeah, I'm really seeing that shimmer more. I like it, I like it. Okay, so I'm gonna put another dimensional on the end of this. So I'm putting it behind the friend, just right here on the edge. I'll go ahead and take that back off, and then I'm gonna use my liquid glue. You can use Stampin' Seal if you prefer, but liquid glue is my go-to. And then I'm going to place that where it's hanging off the card right here. So the dimensional is holding this end up so that it doesn't sink, and then the glue is keeping it level with this part that's already popped up. Okay, so hopefully these are dry now. So I'm just gonna use one. I have a dot of Pale Papaya up here. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, see right there is a little dot of Pale Papaya. So I'm gonna use one of these to cover that dot up. Perfect. So when you're placing any kind of embellishments, I was forgetting words again. When you're placing any kind of embellishments, that's the first thing that I do is I look and say, okay, have I gotten some adhesive or some ink or something, a little tear? I don't know. What crazy thing have I done to this card? And so once I figure that out, then I can figure out where I want to start putting embellishments, because these are the best thing to cover all those little things up with. And no one will ever know that you boo-booed. I love Bob Ross's Happy Accidents. I can't remember how that saying goes right now, but I'm sure somebody does and can put it in the comments. If my kids were up here, they would be able to tell me, because they love that too, that quote. Oops. Need to make sure that all of my embellishments are put down good. I think some of this is still slightly damp. It probably would have been a good idea to have my heat tool over here. Okay, now we're good to go. All right, so for the inside, I'm going to grab a 4 by 5 1/4 sheet of basic white cardstock, and I really like this Coastal Cabana. So I think that what I'm going to do is, and this is just basic white. This is not shimmer, so I'm going to have to be really careful doing this. But I want to figure out about how tall and wide the stamp is, and then I'm going to do just a really light blue wash where I'm going to stamp it. And I'm just going to use that black ink again. Okay, I don't want to add any more than that because I'm afraid I'm going to get it too wet. I'm just cleaning my tip again. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of water in because I still have some blue. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to wave this in the air. Dry it a little faster. It's still not dry. So last week was on stage with Stampin' Up, which was super fun because we got to peek at a few of the, quite a few of the products that are coming up in our January to June mini catalog for 2022, which is mind-blowing. 2022 is just like a month and a half away. I don't know if anybody else is as shocked as I am about that, but it seems like time is just going by faster and faster unless you're thinking about how long it's taking to dry this. Okay, so I remembered that I'm recording this video. I'm not doing it live, so I did a little bit of movie magic there and went and used my heat tool and dried this real quick. All right, so I just stamped this up again with the Memento ink. And I'm going to stamp it off of this corner just a little bit. There we go. Boy, that's perfect. So you want to make sure that you do your color wash before you do your stamping, because this is a water-based ink, and if you were to stamp with the black and then go over it with that paintbrush in the light blue, you would have this black streaky mess. It would be terrible. So do the background wash first and then come back over and stamp on it once it's dry. Oh no, I had ink on my finger. How sad. Where's that ink coming from? Okay. So there's the inside of our card. There's the front. What do you think? I'm going to show you again the one in the catalog. So considering I didn't have the right stamp set and we made a few little improvisations, I can get that one to. So there is that one, and here is this one. What do you think? Do you like this one or the one in the catalog, or do you think they're pretty sneaking close to the same thing? I think they're pretty close. There we go. Now I'm back. So if there is a card from the catalog, especially from the mini catalog, that you would like to see made on one of these videos, then please let me know. Just send me a comment. You can comment right here on YouTube, or there's a link where you can contact me, and I will do my best to make the card from the catalog. I might tweak it a little, might tweak it a lot, might not tweak it at all. It just depends on what I have as far as supplies go, for the card that you pick. But I would always love to do something requested. And if you have any questions about joining or anything else at all, Stampin' Up, I would be glad to help you. So I hope you are having a great day, a great week, and that you have a wonderful weekend. Happy stamping.